Hello and welcome back to EastEnders Weekly, your weekly podcast that's all about Ben Mitchell. We're doing this again.
Yeah, we are. Because another big news story came out this week, didn't it?
It did.
About the recasting of Ben Mitchell. And suffice to say, the internet weren't very happy, were they?
No, it's very mixed. Poor Harry Reid.
I wouldn't say it was mixed. I would say it was very negative.
Harry Reid has spoken out and said he gives his blessing.
He has. He did an official interview, I believe, with the Metro.
He did a few, actually.
Well, he did it. But he said he laid down the line and it's a forgotten issue now. He doesn't want to talk about it anymore. He was disappointed, though. He said he felt disappointed.
Yeah, but he didn't want fans to feel sorry for him.
No.
He's all right.
But the mystery is, was it recast because of an audition, or did Harry Reid have to re-audition for his part? Because we know that Kate Oates does ask old cast members to re-audition to see if they are right for the role that she envisioned.
Well, she said she wants to take Ben into a different direction, and that's the reason for the recasting. So.
Lots of people are worried that this different direction is going to be Phil Mitchell 2.0, so they're going to make him more like his father and not like the character that he kind of grew and became. And
well, Kate Oates has said that he's going to be more confident with his sexuality now that he's been away from his father.
But you know who else comes back from when Ben returns?
Lola.
And do you know who else?
Lexi.
And do you know who else? Kathy Bill. Kathy will come back, hopefully. I reckon. Do you think they'll come back together, or do you think Kathy will be back before?
No, she'll be back before, because she was filming before, because Max Bowden started this week.
Right. So does she have to start wearing that necklace that Ben bought her again at the cafe?
Will. She looked very glamorous at the NTAs. I can't get over what she looks like.
She looked like a new person.
It actually did. She looks about younger than she does in 85, which is weird. But yeah, I mean, we've just got a few comments, I know already, about Ben's return. So Oz Legend says the new guy actually looks like a mixture of a bravado and homosexual, which is how they've always wanted to portray Ben, but they couldn't do it with Harry Reid, as he looks like neither.
Oh, really? What does a homosexual look like? I'd like to know, just out of interest.
Sylvia Surfer says, recast again? It's a bit of a joke at this point, and the most recent Ben was actually really decent. But now he'll be talking about killing Heather, one actor, or Paul, another actor, or being accused by Stella, another actor, and it will just be a total joke.
Well, this is it, isn't it? A lot of people are saying it's a bit like the Doctor from Doctor Who. He seems to be regenerating all the time. There was a good joke going round. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, that's quite clever, saying that the 13th Ben is going to be a female, which I tickled me a little bit. But
maybe. Yeah. I've just got something to say.
Oh, go on.
It's not about Ben Mitchell, this podcast.
Oh, fooled again.
It's about EastEnders.
Of course it is.
And we'll be discussing the episodes broadcast between the 21st and the 24th of January. No Friday episode this week.
No. I'm Alex, by the way.
You are, and I am Ben.
I'm your boy Friday, aren't I?
Excuse me?
A Robinson Crusoe reference.
I don't know what that is.
Because it's about EastEnders.
Moving on. So we've got lots of... I mean, I've noticed a slight mixture. On the last two episodes on Thursday, things seem to be mixing around a bit on storylines.
Yeah, something you've been not complaining about.
Complaining, yeah.
You've been saying that you don't like this block storytelling, and it's become more and more prevalent, and you're kind of noticing it, and it's just getting a bit of a tired now. And yeah, this week they were mixing all the cast together.
Different casts were acting together. Phil and Kat and Stacey.
Who'd have ever see that? I know.
Shirley, Mitch, Karen, Keegan, in the Vic.
Yeah, sorry, there was also crossovers within the other stories as well.
There was, and people kept gossiping about what happened to Dot's front door.
Yes.
So yeah, we like this.
Yeah, we're getting there.
The residents know what else is happening with the other residents, which is good.
But that's it, they're not completely naive to what's happening around them anymore. They're not just completely ignoring or blindsiding anything that people are saying.
So speaking of Dot's front door...
Ooh, you.
Or Dot's kitchen table. We have got the storyline of Stuart trying to clear his name. So his redemption arc has started. He's innocent for once, and everyone thinks he's guilty. Sonia is not happy. She's sprung up from nowhere.
Yeah, Sonia's having none of it. She doesn't think he deserves this redemption.
Did she not notice that Stuart was in the house for 3 weeks before this?
Well, Sonia wasn't in the house for 3 weeks.
All of a sudden she has a problem. That Stuart's there.
She's got a problem with it. I mean, I take it that Stuart's got Robbie's room, so unless she thought that Stuart's been Robbie this whole time.
Maybe. Because
Robbie is a bit quiet. He kind of puts his head down, occasionally moans about something.
He's in India still.
Well,
no news on his return.
mean, these holidays that these cast members take. I mean, it's understandable with Kathy because she works for her son, but Robbie works for the council, and as we find out later in the week, the council are doing layoffs.
Yeah, and Denise.
So is Robbie going to be coming back and expecting his job? Expecting his job laid on the table again for him?
You talking about Dean Gaffney or Robbie or both?
Well, I'm talking about the character Robbie, but I know that Dean Gaffney is. I'm also hoping that his character is still there when he gets back.
Not sure about that. This was weird because Stuart realises that Dennis might have filmed some drone footage which clears his name. And he does get Dennis to look for a video for money, and then he gives him his phone, says, "Oh, this is the video." But he doesn't know how to play the video.
Yeah, that was really
strange.
Do you
think that was
weird?
It?
Very strange. Oh, no, I completely agree with you. I don't know if it was a way of interacting him with Keegan, perhaps, for a later story, so they can, get to know each other a little bit. I mean, Keegan kind of blanks him afterwards and doesn't really show any attention.
No.
But, but considering that his whole in on the soap was that he was filming people that he was catching.
Filming Linda and sent it to emails.
Of his hand coming gently caressing her face. So surely, maybe it's a different phone, okay, fair enough, but I think everyone knows what a play button looks like and a pause button looks like.
That was a bit silly.
Yeah, it just didn't seem to make much sense.
We know that Dr. Legg didn't die, thank God.
Yes.
That heart-wrenching scene last week.
Although we had a few minutes right at the beginning on Monday. I mean, that was another strange moment because it seemed as though that the beginning of Mondays was actually meant to be the end of Friday.
Of last week, yeah. It's really weird.
It was really strange. Sonia's scene was her shouting at Stuart, and then immediately the next scene, Sonia was...
next day as well.
And Sonia was someone else. And they don't do that at all anymore.
That was weird. It's like it was a last-minute edit. Gave Dr. Legg his second ever duff though.
Well, it's nice to give... Why. Yeah, it's nice to give Dr. Legg a nice duff like that. And to be fair, it was a better suspense because you knew that Dr. Legg was okay if they perhaps used the original edit they thought where Sonia was having a go at Stuart.
That's a nice fact though. Dr. Legg's last duff was the second ever episode. Ever. That was his first and last duff, and then he had a duff this week.
Wow. So
big gap.
A huge gap, yeah. I mean, you think Dr. Legg as a character would have more duffs, like revealing news.
For so long.
I have something to tell you. Dum, dum, dum. But then I suppose it goes to the person who gets the news, I suppose, who gets the duff.
That's funny. So he got his second ever duff. That's nice. And I'm assuming he'll get one more.
In a coffin?
No,
buried in the ground.
Do you think he'll get a Julius theme for his funeral?
Oh, he has to get a Julius theme.
Hope it's before we finish our sections.
So we can talk about it.
Yes.
And yesterday this happened.
So we've also got the underlining story of Dot trying to sort of redeem her own upbringing of Nick in the form of Stuart, which is quite an interesting take.
Which she says to Stuart, because Stuart, as you said, is trying to plead his innocence, gets the video footage showing that it wasn't him who painted the door. And Sonia's adamant that Stuart shouldn't have any more chances, and Dot was just like, I need quiet, get out my house.
I know, because even to Sonia, she says, it's my house, Sonia. And that Sonia's like, oh, I'll be quiet, bye.
Well, to be fair to Sonia, she's right. Sonia's only staying there because she thinks she's going to inherit it.
Yeah.
She thinks she's got her feet under the table. She likes taking other people's inheritance, doesn't she? Hence why Sonia wants
to drop storyline.
Well, it's a storyline that's not been dropped in my mind. Dot says to Stuart that she can see evil. Her son, Nick, has been around her and she's known evil, so she can see it in people. And she thinks that Stuart, she can see a kinder side in Stuart. She thinks he's genuine when he's turned a new leaf. And so she's willing to give him another chance. But this is the last one, and she'll be watching him. She'll be watching him very close with her little eyes.
Kudos to Ricky Champ, because when I heard that they were giving him Stuart a redemption, it was a bit like, you can't. But he's been playing it quite well, hasn't he? They're
taking it the long route. Yeah. So it's not like Hayley's mum, where you were expecting to feel sorry for her after one episode. Like, I've got this little...
Max and Rainey, they saved that baby, so everyone forgives them.
Exactly. So they're doing it with some kind of construction behind it. So there's a reason behind it, and Dot is a great character to almost, for want of a better word, to kind of angelize like Stuart, to make him into this better reformed character, because every time she speaks to him, it's like something switch clicks onto Stuart's mind, and he wants to do better and be liked.
He does, and we're going to learn a lot more about his upbringing, apparently, because Kate Oates is keeping him. She's been doing lots of interviews this week about things, so we'll drop some little things in. But yeah, they're going to look into his past and what makes him the way he is, which is quite nice. It sort of rounds him off as not just a villain, there's reasons why.
Yeah, there's more layers to that onion.
Which we said this when they were first introduced. We said we wanted to see halfway in Stuart's mum and dad.
Well, yeah, because
or learn a bit why Stuart felt like the big protective brother over halfway, and halfway was a bit wimpy. So
because we know, because Stuart was abused younger, and he almost took the abuse for halfway, so that halfway didn't get the abuse. Because there is that relationship between them two as well that it really would be fascinating to explore, and to have them.
Halfway needs a bit of something. He's been a bit forgotten.
He needs something more than
his hat,
more than his hat, and more than this relationship where he's trying to have a baby with Whitney. But then, as we know in our next story, that no relationship is safe on the square anymore.
I know, I'm sad about this with Kush and Denise. I know it's kind of been forgotten that they're meant to be a couple, and it's only brought up when it's necessary, like on the consent episode and stuff. But I did enjoy them as a couple since they first ever got together, and there was that age gap, and her best friend was his mum and stuff. It was a really good story, but that's it. They've just decided to break up.
Well, after the New Year's Eve, where they were practically, doing it in the hallway, Vic floor. Denise goes off on holiday for a couple of weeks, comes back and has a completely different change of tune.
She just lost her job.
Well, she loses her job afterwards, and so she feels like the world around her is crumbling. But I suppose this means that there's no need to worry about bringing up the whole Kush having the affair story.
No, that was just come out, brought it up, and that was it, really.
Yeah, but she did say I wouldn't say anything, and he's like, oh, thanks, Mum. But there's no need. I mean, even if it gets brought up now, it doesn't really matter because
they've broken up.
So that's that story wasted.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I'm guessing they're doing it, obviously pairing them off to other people. Don't know who they want, because Mitch has shown some interest in quite a few women on the square, all at once.
He was flirting with Shirley.
Karen, Denise,
yeah.
Honey.
Oh, yeah, Honey. But he was helping them. He was being a gentleman, wasn't he? And Shirley immediately kind of threw it off and didn't want anything to do with him. But, it is a shame about Denise, because you liked their relationship. It seemed for a little while, it seemed quite pure. But as Denise said quite rightly, she kind of asked him to marry her when he was on his deathbed, about to go into an operation for his heart. So perhaps it was a bit rushed, perhaps it was a bit like
but they did that real good story with Kush, with Denise and Carmel, where Carmel was like finally accepting their friendship, and said, if you ever hurt him, and I know I really do love him. And they did like a big deal about it, and then they just like, nah.
Yeah. That's the end of that.
The cafe. It's like,
but they don't talk anymore, and they've been engaged for a long time, and no wedding plans been made, so they're kind of. But then they're still quite a young relationship, really. Do they? I feel like Denise is rushing things, because as you said, later on she loses her job, and then she starts questioning. She's 50 next week, and she's got nothing to show for it particularly. And when she was younger, she didn't think she'd ever make it this far, which is a weird thing to say, but And so it's almost like she is rushing it now. She just wants to get everything that she's supposed to have at this point
in order.
Done in order. Yeah, have a.
Maybe that age gap was an issue then in the end, deep down.
Well, because Kush obviously doesn't want to settle. He's settled once before and it went a bit wrong. And also Kush is a bit of a player. Let's be honest with you. He's a good-looking lad. He can get He's pretty good at getting the women. He's got a job at the door of E20. That's a good place
apparently, which we've never seen. It's a shame this didn't happen a bit earlier, and they could have incorporated Kush into the Ruby storyline rather than Jay. Maybe have Ruby and Kush date afterwards.
No, because I don't think Kush and Ruby would suit. Ruby and Jay.
No one suits Ruby because she needs to leave.
Yeah, well, she's a very dangerous character. But no, bless Ruby.
Her and Jay are sweet.
Her and Jay is perfect, and also as we said earlier on the program, Lola is on her way, so that would be an interesting dynamic too.
I have a feeling that maybe the Ahmed sisters may be fighting for Kush. Maybe there's going to be something there.
I agree.
But there's not many characters similar age to Kush that are single. I hope he doesn't get back to Stacey. Don't do that again.
No, I know. I think Stacey has got a road, and it's bald and ginger, to be honest with you, on her cards in the future. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Masood thinks of Kush having a relationship with another member of his family, if he was to get involved or not.
I know. Poor Masood's a bit quiet, really.
He has gone a bit quiet recently, hasn't he? It's been a bit strange. He's not been in it a lot, and he's doing a lot of theatre outside of the soap, so he seems to be not connected to it at all.
I would watch all of John York's people closely.
Oh, I agree.
Although Big Mo's got a storyline. Thank God she's staying.
Yes, and Jean's got a good future storyline too.
Yes.
Which I'm really excited. Well, I was really excited to hear.
Yes, we'll talk about that when we talk about the Slaters, maybe.
Fair enough.
It's something different to talk about because it's the same story again.
Well, on the Slaters.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right. So next up, we have more parts of our ongoing series of Julie's Legacy, where we look back at all the Julie's themes used from 1985 to present day. Right, welcome back to Julia's Legacy, where we take a look back at every single Julia's theme that's been used in the show's history.
Every single one of them.
Well, apart from the special ones, which could come up later if there's another part.
If we ever have the energy to go through this again. But it's been great, hasn't it? Especially now we've been able to treat ourselves to watching the full episode, so we can get a full background.
Yeah, every episode.
And it's funny that you can automatically fill in the gaps because you're like, oh, I remember when that and that and that happened. That led to that. So it's been quite good fun.
And when you watch episodes like years apart, you can see like how it deteriorates and how it's good, and how it's bad, and how the cast are good, and so yeah, that's interesting.
Because at the beginning of these episodes, because these are the 2000s, the beginning of the 2000s, you felt a bit like, oh, this is the dodgy ground again. Yeah. But then as it progressed, you thought, oh, actually, it's not too bad.
No, it's okay. I mean, these ones aren't too bad. It's better than the boat with Gary, which was a low point for me.
The boat with Gary. You'll never let it down, will you?
So the first one we've got today is the 5th of March, 2010. And this one is Bradley Branning's funeral.
Yes.
So Dot is laying flowers at his grave for the Julia's theme. And obviously we know quite a lot leads up to poor Bradley's funeral.
Well, we know, and I think most people would know, that what came before Bradley's funeral was the live episode, the very first ever EastEnders live episode. And it was the full episode as well, none of this silly stuff when they have a few live scenes here and there. This was a full half
hour.
No
adverts either.
No, so they had to do the whole thing in one run. And Bradley died, obviously. Yeah. Sorry, spoilers out there for anyone who may not have known.
And Stacey admits to Max that she's the one who killed Archie.
And since then, Stacey has run off somewhere and no one really knows where she's gone. And Jean, throughout this episode that we watched, keeps thinking that Stacey is on her way back and she wouldn't miss Bradley's funeral, not for anything. She'd want to come and see him and say goodbye.
And Bradley's being buried with everyone thinking that he's murdered.
Yeah, because the coroner phones Jack, obviously Jack. So Jack's got the phone call, and in the middle of this whole wake after Bradley's funeral, he decides to not take Max to one side and say, oh, should we just have a quiet word with you, just to let you know. He's like, yeah, coroner's called. Yeah, they're going to close the case. It's Bradley. Bradley killed him.
Yeah, right in front of Peggy.
I know, Peggy gives this really judgy look, doesn't she? Like, probably looks down her nose at Max.
Thought so.
Yeah. Max still doesn't believe. Well, Max knows the truth, you see.
Yes.
But Max can't say the truth.
Because he loves Stacey as well. So
exactly.
It's caught in the middle.
So he has to bite his lip and just basically have everyone believe that Bradley was the one who murdered. And this goes on for, I think, throughout the year.
It goes on for quite a while, because Stacey leaves soon as well. I mean, one of the funny ongoing things is that Tanya really doesn't like funerals.
she always sits outside in the car, doesn't she?
Mum's outside, she's in the car.
So she did it again.
Poor Abby. Little will she know in a few years' time that'll be her mum outside the funeral.
From her own funeral. I mean, Abby turned up because Abby and Lauren are both staying and living with Tanya at this point because the divorce has kicked in. And
it's the same old thing with Max. It's just the same.
Yeah, it's just a cycle of
life. Same
for
story. Because there's one later where it's the exact same story, but we skip past it because we'd seen it.
But also, like, the saddest day, not the saddest day of his life, but perhaps one of the saddest days of his life up to this point, his son has died. He's just buried his son and he's got this secret. And what does he do? No, he ends up making out with Stacey's friend Becca, who she met from the mental asylum. So it's typical Max. And again, you kind of, even at this point, you kind of think your sympathy wanes at this point.
And he's like drinking, isn't he? He's got his little flask.
His little hip flask. I love the exaggerated drinking. It's like, how much whiskey or whatever beverage is in that? Is there in the flask? They seem to be endless bottomless pit of alcohol, unless he keeps topping it up somewhere.
But they've had a wake. They've made a cake
They've had a wake, made a cake.
Yep, and it says something like a Star Trek reference on it, which isn't appropriate from Billy.
Yes, which everyone's like, oh, that's not cool for
It's not
Billy.
a birthday.
No, it's not a celebration, Billy.
Yeah, and then Dot goes with Bradley's mum, because she also comes to the funeral, his actual mum, and they lay flowers down for him on his Beam Me Up gravestone.
It says Beam Me Up. It's really sad, actually, and I remember at the time feeling quite emotional that Bradley had died. The actor,
it was a big
wanted
thing,
to
wasn't
go.
it? Everyone quite liked Bradley, didn't they?
But
and
because
it wasn't announced, and it was all quite sudden.
It was, well, no one knew what was going to happen on the live episode. There was no spoilers released at all. Even the cast of the live episode were given different scripts, so everyone thought they were filming different scenes. And it wasn't until the night that people were told, right, your scene's in and your scene is in. So it was really cleverly done.
Really good.
It was a surprise when Bradley was killed off.
Yeah.
Bradley, and I think Dot says it in this episode, was the only light in the square. So he was like too nice to live in Albert Square, wasn't he? And it just was
Played
a shame.
off as a mug.
Yeah, no, I don't think
Stacey.
he was a mug. Obviously he wasn't a mug because he ended up killing Archie to defend his woman. But
well, so we think.
Yes, well, exactly. But he was too pure for this world, and I think Dot kind of summed it up in the funeral episode.
Dot's always there.
At any funeral, she's there. It's like Karen at a buffet; she'll be there.
Right. So next up, we are on the 26th of April. So not long after. They're like every few months in 2010. This is still 2010. And we have a secretly pregnant Amira Masood leaves Wolford by taxi after it's revealed her husband Saeed is gay.
Oh.
Now we remember this episode. It's very good.
Yes,
very good episode.
Christian had, prior to this, decorated their flat for them and then painted on the wall...
secret message.
Yeah, Saeed loves Christian in a heart, like you do on your school book when you're like a kid. And
not Christian loves Saeed, that's very important. It was
Saeed loves Christian. Yes.
It just doesn't make sense, Saeed. Why would they write it that way around?
I mean, you can't really win Saeed, because if he said it was Christian the person, then obviously he's gay. If he said, oh, I mean Christianity, I'm dropping my Muslim religion,
it wouldn't
then
be accepted.
It wouldn't be accepted either way. So he was in trouble. Harpooned from both directions.
It was very sad, because, you want Saeed to be himself, admit his love for Christian, but at the same time... you kind of on her side as well, because she didn't ask for any of this.
Plus, she'd be shunned by the family. They would say it was her fault why Saeed has come out as
not
gay.
woman enough.
Yeah, exactly. She's not doing her duty, or she's not beautiful enough to be able to tempt a man away from homosexuality.
Yeah. And at the same time, parallel to this, we have the storyline with Denise and Chelsea, because Chelsea thinks she's pregnant because her and Amira took a pregnancy test together.
Yes, and whatever could have gone wrong.
One's pregnant, one's not pregnant, and Chelsea thinks she is pregnant. So Amira obviously thinks, I'm not pregnant.
But Amira had already kept the family thinking that she was pregnant.
Yes.
And it wasn't until Christian came storming in during their kind of housewarming party and announced to the whole Muslim community of Wolford that actually Saeed, he likes the other team, that
very
she said,
tense, those scenes, weren't they? And when all the family were there, and they were trying to keep it secret that this had come out, and trying to keep both sides of the family happy, and because they're all gossips, aren't they, and judgy in that family.
But I think it's something of the culture. Yeah, they kind of judge one another, who can be up from the other one.
It's almost like Zainab she is worried that her son's gay, but what she's more worried about is the family judging her. Like, that's her top worry, which is really interesting.
And even Saeed says that once he's been exposed, because Amira says, you're not even good enough to plant a seed in me, I'm not pregnant, and so she still believes she's not pregnant, and the secret is out. And Saeed basically, when it's just the immediate family, so it's his mum and dad and Tamwa, and Tamwa has a really sweet moment actually, because he says, I don't care that you're gay. It's fine. But the mum and dad are like, well, you've ruined the family. No one will use our services anymore. Within the community, no one will use our food that we cook for.
Yeah, the name will just be ruined.
Yeah, the name's been ruined just because you're living your true life, your true self. And it's really horrible, isn't it? That it all comes down to reputation rather than the love within your family.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing the side of, because Christian basically outs Saeed without Saeed wanting to be outed.
I mean, that's naughty. Christian doesn't have the right to out someone.
But it's that sort of dynamic of Christian is someone who is already out. He's comfortable with everything. He knows what it's like to be out. It's all okay for him. So he thinks he's doing him a favour, he knows best. And Saeed is the one who's inexperienced and not sure what it would be like. So that's a nice sort of dynamic they had there. But yeah, it did make Christian come across a bit unfair.
I think so. I think Christian
taking the choice away from Saeed.
Exactly, it was Saeed's choice to tell him. But then I suppose maybe, as you said, Saeed needed that kick to kind of to do it, to actually finally do it, and he did. He did. And we also find out, because the Julius theme is actually on Amira, and she's rubbing her stomach because Chelsea comes to tell her pregnancy tests were the wrong way round. Yeah. Are you sure? 100%. I mean, I take refuge to that. I don't think you can ever be 100% sure with those tests. But yeah.
But she rubs her tummy and then goes in the back of the car, her dad's car. So
Amira and Saeed there's a child out there.
I know. And I'm sure they haven't mentioned it.
Well, the only family members now, or the original, is Masood.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are the Ahmeds, but...
I'm wondering if, like, 1 year it was like there was mentioned during a party, like really briefly, maybe. But yeah, nothing's really come of that. So that's interesting. Because he'll be about 9 years old now.
Yeah. I'd love
he or she.
Quite right.
And it would be really interesting because the child would have been real shunned or kept quiet. So yeah, you wonder what happened when she went back with that baby.
Because perhaps their family wanted them to pretend that it wasn't Amira's, so they might have pretended
they've given it up, or lots of options there.
Very exciting. But yes, it's potentially a character that could return.
Yes, with Saeed, that'd be fun.
That'd be great.
So next up, we are on the 23rd of June, 2010, still 2010, and this is Stacey Branning holds her baby daughter Lily after giving birth in hospital. Claudia Winkleman's been born into the world.
Just before she starts presenting Strictly. Got good timing.
Hour-long episode we had here. Special feature length.
It was. I mean, half the episode could have been written off. It was unnecessary. It was just...
when we were watching it, we were thinking, this doesn't feel like an hour-long episode.
No.
But it's a lot of revelations about who Lily's father is, because everyone thinks it's Bradley's, because Abby says, you have to name Bradley when he's born.
Well, yeah, no, she offered to babysit, didn't she? She said, she's one of our family. She's one of the family, so you can look after her for you.
Big Mo wants her to be named Mo.
Big Mo, she really likes to get her name spread, doesn't she?
She tried to get Cherry called Mo.
Yeah, she did. Someone has to have a baby.
It's a good name.
Strong name.
And then Ryan and Janine are together, and Janine has told Stacey that there was like some sort of bet on him just kissing Stacey and it didn't mean anything. So that's upset Stacey. She's kind of showing those signs of her illness again, isn't she? And she's very angry at Ryan in the rain. She goes into labour and he's the only one there to help, and he sort of gets forced into the ambulance with her.
Yes, because they all believe that he's the husband or the partner who's
which he is, but they don't know.
Exactly.
Only Stacey and Jean knows.
And there's a lot of hints to that because I think the audience know that it's Ryan's baby.
Probably.
It's not Bradley. So we know this, and there's lots of lines that are said when Ryan is with Stacey that indicate that it is his child, and little hints to kind of give him the clues that it might be his. The most telling one is when the nurse hands the baby to him and says, here's your child.
Yeah.
And he didn't correct her.
No.
And he just kind of starts cradling it, and so he's like, here we go, this is it.
He's a bit shell-shocked. I don't think he's quite taking it all in.
Well, I mean, he got shouted at quite heavily by Stacey.
I know, she was right.
She was swearing at him, telling him to get out, then telling him to come back in again. She was sucking on that gas like there was no tomorrow. She was having a great time.
She knew how to do it straight away. The nurse didn't even tell her how to use this instrument. She just put it in her mouth and she was away.
It's like a can of deodorant in a brown paper bag to her.
And once again, Jean knew the secret of who the dad was, just like Cherry and Hayley. So there's lots of parallels with the Hayley and Stacey storyline with this birth.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It was very much a parallel story to what happened to Hayley. So she didn't want the baby, and she was distressed when she was having it.
Secret dad. She's shouty and angry like Hayley.
I mean, she didn't have the child in a crack house.
No, nearly on the street though.
Near the PG. She was at the PG in the rain. She was like, go away from me, Ryan, and then fell on her knees.
Ryan breaks up with Janine as well, says that she's poison.
Yes, which upsets Janine, because Janine earlier to this is upset and starts talking to Pat about, how do you keep your man? You and Frank aren't a great example.
I love Pat.
I know, she's great. Well, she gets drunk on gin and tonics with Peggy, doesn't they?
Tries to flirt with Ryan. If I was 20 years younger, I'd give you a go.
She's not changed. Pat will never change.
No. So, it's a nice episode. Maybe just doesn't need to be an hour long. But
the thing is, it was padded out with the Max and the kid storyline. Max finds out that because he's booked a holiday with Abby and Lauren, and Abby and Lauren have already booked a school trip
and they want to move
America.
back in with Tanya.
Yeah, and they'd rather be with Tanya. And he got the
Been
divorce
there before.
papers. Exactly. And he didn't open the letters, and he doesn't believe he got the divorce papers. And then Abby's like, I told you open your letters, and throws the letters at him. And it's just, it's a bit silly. And
It's the same thing from like 2002 to 2018, basically.
It's funny. Every time there's a scene with Stacey, there's always a scene with Max. Like, the stories are always parallel to one another.
Yeah.
They are destined to get together. It's obvious, isn't
Pat
it?
and Frank. Young Pat and Frank.
It is the Pat and Frank show.
Right, so the last one we've got is the 16th of July, 2010. And Saeed's back. So Saeed admits his true feelings to Christian, and they walk away together as a couple.
It's a really lovely episode. Yes, and Saeed's at some kind of therapy to make him straight.
He's given up his therapy, but hasn't told his parents that.
Well, he told him to stuff it, the therapist. Yeah. He said, you can stuff it.
Yeah. And Christian is trying to do... What's his new boot camp called?
No, it's called Absacadabra. But it's really difficult to pronounce.
It is. Jane doesn't think it's very good.
Well, she doesn't. But then there's a little joke when she said, you can fix anything with your magic wand. And he goes, yeah, Absacadabra. That's taken me ages to be able to say that without any flaws.
Well done.
Thank you. I might start a personal training firm.
And yeah, there's another family party with the Masouds again. And they're saying, we'll get you with the right girl this time. It'll be great. It'll be fine. There's lots of good suitors for you. And he tries to talk to Christian, and Christian sort of says, no, I'm not in for this anymore.
Yeah, he thinks that he's just wants him as a kind of a plaything, a part-time thing, so he can just go to Christian and have a bit of fun.
What did he say? It was something like, you're a bit of a special reward or something.
No, if you want a reward, you can go to... There's places for that.
Yeah.
If you want, that's it, a reward, because he says, I told the therapist to do one, and he's like, yeah, well, if you want a reward, there's places for that. So, okay. And the whole time he's looking for a good cut of beef for his meal, but obviously he keeps looking over at Christian. Every time it's said, it's like, have you got yourself a good cut of beef? Because you don't want anything stringy. And every time someone says it, he looks over the market.
Christian's in a vest.
Christian's in a vest with sweat pouring off him, running around the square.
He calls him out across the square in the garden.
Well, first of all, he's done it yet again. Saeed's decided to make it, as you say, a family occasion, so everyone can see and hear that he's gay. He can't be changed, and so he can't do it quietly. He can't do anything quietly.
No, and Tamwar says, "Are you happy?" He wants him to be happy, and he doesn't care. So he lets Masood know that he's given him his Quran back, and he's left them, and they see them across the square, hugging and embracing.
Yes.
Zainab's disgusted.
Well, I think Zainab's really torn by this whole situation, because I don't think Zainab, she wants her son to be happy. She loves nothing more than her children.
But she doesn't want the family name
ruined in this way. She still can't fathom homosexuality and two men being together. I mean, those scenes from 2 years ago when the wedding, I'd love to analyse that episode when Saeed and Amira's wedding is happening, and it's about 2 or 3 episodes, and she's at the Bill's house and she's having it out with Christian, and that conflict and that fight they have together is just amazing.
It's really good.
So, it's goosebumps to watching it.
It's very tense. Yeah, they don't cover their words. It's quite brutal, the things they say to each other on that episode. But they find love in the end and admit love for each other.
They do.
They have the fake train going over the bridge.
I know, it's like this. Whenever anyone walks down the market, Bridge Street Market, I just wait for like a sunset to happen above it. But they always like to the train go by or something like that. And
do you know the first time that was ever used?
What, the train?
Yeah, the fake CGI train.
Oh no.
The first episode they used it on was during Lou Bill's funeral.
Oh,
they projected it, especially for Lou Bill.
They projected it? What, they put it on the screen or something?
Yeah, they didn't have CGI back in 1988. But that
or
was
if they did, the BBC
could
afford.
Yeah, that's the first time they ever used it. It was for Lou Bill's funeral.
Oh, right. Because I know that, I think in Coronation Street, when they used to have the tram going by, in like the 70s or the 80s, they used to basically have a cardboard cutout. And someone would walk past with it, and it would slow down.
There you go. There's a little fact for you.
Wow. I thought it was real. I thought it was a real train that went over the square.
Lou Bill's Legacy. That's our next series.
I bet you'd have
We'll analyse every scene of Lou Bill.
Oh, God, all day. I mean, I'd love to do it. Her scenes are just timeless. But more on the classic EastEnders a bit later, maybe.
Of course. But there you go. That's our 4 for this 1 year. 4 in 1 year so far, and there's still a bit more to go.
We've got one more in 2000, which will be next week. But we thought it's good to begin and end with the Masouds.
Yes. So there you go. That was Julia's Legacy. Wasn't that wonderful?
It was. I really enjoy doing Julia's Legacy. It's I don't know. It's really interesting seeing all the old episodes, rewatching them again, and just watching them and
seeing how the characters have changed.
Yeah.
What storylines have been copied.
Also true. Also true.
Speaking of copied to later storylines.
Oh, Control C, Control P.
Depends what device you're using.
Oh, sorry. Command C, Command P.
So yeah, we're talking about the Slater storylines this time. I mean, I love Hayley. We're big fans of Hayley on the show. I am quite glad that she's on a bit of a mental break now.
A mental break for her and a mental break for us, yeah.
It seems that it's like, I needed some weeks away from Hayley.
It kind of calms the Slater story down a little bit, because every week we seem to be just going through the mill of doing the same stuff each time. And
saying that, I still didn't enjoy this week's story.
No. I mean, it was all right.
It was okay.
You had to take a huge pinch of salt for the ending of the week with the Slaters and Kat and Alfie. But the beginning was okay. Although she just did the same that she did.
She escaped from hospital
a month ago, exactly. From her therapist.
Yeah, and had a little chat with Stacey. Stacey phoned the hospital saying she's here.
Well, no, she phoned Jean.
Oh, was it Jean?
Yeah, because then Jean is in the square, kind of like a ghost, kind of pops up and is like, "You right there, Hayley?" So Hayley's like, "Whoa," like that. And Hayley's bought this kind of toy set for Cherry, which she stole £20 from Jean's purse in order to buy.
Yeah, I mean, they have a chat and they convince her that she does need. I mean, this happened last week anyway. Kat has already convinced her this, but they convince her again. And she does go back to get help. And the social worker's a bit weird, isn't she?
I didn't like the social worker. No. She was really unlikable.
And she put her own problem. She was like, "Sorry, I was having a bad day. I shouldn't have done that to you."
I know.
Like, right?
Yeah, she was really. And at the beginning as well, when the therapist was talking to her, and she was like, "Is everything okay, Hayley?" And Hayley's like, "Yeah, no, it's fine. Are you sure, Hayley?" "Yeah." And then she just snapped and went, "Did you jump in front of the bus or not?" And it was like, all right. She's an awful therapist.
Yeah, not very good, is she?
And poor...
She had a bad day, though, remember?
She was having a bad day. So maybe the therapist needs to see a therapist.
Maybe.
So it's an ever-ending circle in the NHS.
But Hayley's gone now. I'm assuming Kate Jarvis is on a break, because she's worked quite hard all over Christmas, all the big episodes, and even after the big episodes, she was always there.
And very dramatic stories. Yeah. Although I didn't like the way that she was having this. You saw this final therapy session she was having with the lady, and... next minute she looks up
pans over.
And you see the whole Slater family looking through the window like she's an animal in a zoo, like waving at her, going, "Hiya, Hayley."
They brought all the kids.
Yeah, and
look.
Mo's there as well, putting her head against the window, blowing her
some peanuts.
Yeah, there should be a little hole where a little tube comes down where she gets a reward for being there.
Yeah, that was...
It was a bit silly. It's like you wouldn't watch someone having a therapy
also,
session.
if it's like a private room, you don't have a big window for everyone to look into.
I mean, fine, have a window there, but put some blinds up. Or just mind your own business. Don't just stand there staring at them. It when Hayley was on the balcony and you just saw Kat clung against the window like a Garfield toy on the... It just reminds me of that again. Why does everyone feel the need that they have to keep watching Hayley? Yeah.
But she's gone. That's done. So Kat is looking after 4 kids.
Yes.
So that's interesting. Alfie is continuing his ongoing lies and scumminess. Ian has had to say, "I can't invest, I'm afraid."
It's deep fat fryer, bro.
Yeah.
You can't even open the chippy. What's Wolford to do without a chippy, eh?
Because Kathy's not there to keep things in order.
Exactly. I bet she cleans it.
Health and safety check.
She has. She's got a little clipboard she walks around. Deep fat fryer, check.
So he's had to pull out and he's said to Alfie, "Oh, but Jack's still interested, isn't he? So it's all okay."
Yeah. Which was a lie, because Jack has no interest whatsoever. All Jack's interested in is in himself.
The fireplace is now gone.
Yes.
So that's sad. Kat was very upset by the fireplace going.
Well, she was upset because they were taking a lot of things. Like the bailiffs were taking their money back for... I thought that supposedly then the fireplace was bought on credit. So was he renting it? Was he renting a fireplace from Bright House down the road?
They're going to take down the extension, are they?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Brick by brick.
You just see it under their arms, just taking the stairs, off they go.
There was also a weird thing that apparently Alfie has a private garage rental and also a really expensive vintage car that's always in a private garage.
Which he won on a bet. Yeah, a private garage. That's another thing that's an expense.
Yeah.
It's a storage.
It was really
garage.
weird. He took Phil there to look at it.
Well, he's offered Phil because when he went to speak to Phil in the garage and he saw Keanu there, and Keanu quickly hid the bundle of money that he found in a tyre. Again, Alfie, how is that hidden in the tyre on the car? I don't, because you know how tight those my brother's a mechanic, And if you've ever watched him fit a tyre onto the rim, there's no way you could sneak money. It's so tight that you squeeze it in. You have to use like a kind of powdery Vaseline.
Also, what job was Phil asking Keanu to do to take all 4 tyres off? It's a bit of a weird job in the first place.
It's not like an oil change, is it? Yeah, I'm going to take all the tyres off and replace them. Perfectly good, but let's do it. So yeah, Alfie sees that he's got this bundle of money and so offers Phil to launder it for him. And the classic card that he won on the bet that no one knew about until now is the collateral to basically allow him to do it, because Phil's a bit reticent to let him do it because he's like, well, I'm meant to trust someone who's got bailiffs coming over and taking all your stuff away from you, and
you're got a point.
Well, he has got a point, as we later find out in the week.
They go to Wolford's for a nice family meal, so everything's all jolly again with Alfie. I've sorted it all out, love, don't worry.
He's on Ian.
Yeah, and then he doesn't turn up to their own meal anyway. Sends her Cat a text and says, give me 48 hours, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Trust me, I'll be home. And then when she's
we have the 24 hours.
When the 48 hours that precede this is just ridiculous. So the police turn up and they believe that Alfie has committed suicide. Broadchurch style. Cat has already twigged that he's probably doing this for an insurance claim or something like that, and so he's doing it for the family.
Is it the vintage car that he showed Phil? Is that the one that he's taken?
See, it's kind of been left in the air.
Because they say that his car was left on the cliff top, still running and everything in it.
But they didn't say which car it was. Kat told Phil it was his original car, the car he turned up in. But the vintage car is now missing because Phil hears that Alfie is, inverted commas, dead, and quickly runs over to the Slaters to find out what's going on.
That was a great scene.
It was,
Phil,
actually.
Stacey and Kat. I mean,
But it was like the old days, wasn't it? It felt all nostalgic again.
Phil doesn't not win a battle.
No.
And nor does Kat or Stacey. So it was quite loggerheads. But quite funny lines going through. Hairdryer.
Yes. I'll buy you a hairdryer. And and there's a great line also earlier with Mo when they're talking about like faking your own death. And she says, well, that one over at the cafe, she's done all right out of it.
Yeah, that old cougar, that blonde cougar. Yeah, it was good. And they wondered where all the money was going for. And Phil asked why the police were there. And Kat's like, Mo, she was soliciting again, like casually, passed. So that was really funny.
Mo also earlier says that she had a feeling that a spirit was telling her that she knew where Malfi was, and then Stacey was like, "Shut up, Mo."
No one's having any of it anymore.
Any of that anymore.
But yeah, that was nice. I mean, not many people can have an argument with Phil, but a Stacey argument is quite good.
Yeah, and Kat didn't even seem that upset. Like Stacey was like, Phil's going to want his £50,000 back, and Kat's like, "It was not my problem. He can scream and shout all he wants."
I know,
which was really.
She has this note which Alfie left. Yes. One of the kids allegedly has eaten half of it.
Ernie had eaten half the note after drawing on his face bright red with her lipstick and then rubbing it against
on the stairs.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe
there's
just
something wrong with these children.
Alfie.
But yeah, these children are running amok in the Slater house. It's nuts.
But the note was just useless. Like,
well, it was useless unless you had the
wardrobe. ...
It's like he was waiting for it to be torn as well. Maybe Alfie deliberately tore it, and so he did it like a scavenger hunt.
I don't know. It's worse than Joyce's letters.
It's fair. Well, we know now that Kat is awful at any kind of scavenger hunt because
I know.
Like she said, I looked everywhere. I've looked everywhere, and I can't
wardrobe's
find.
Like a big thing that you look in. Like it would have made more sense. It was like look under the bed in the box. In this,
under the shoes,
code 31216,
the
code cherry or something, or Nana Moon. Look in Nana Moon's slipper box or something. Like that would make more sense rather than her opening a wardrobe and money falling.
But I was going to say we wouldn't have had that beautiful dramatic scene where she was on her knees and all this money fell on her face. She looked a little bit dazed by the whole situation, didn't she? And they did a really bizarre shot where they kind of did a close-up on her face.
It looked like
it was odd.
A dirty movie.
It did look like a dirty movie.
Just money instead of other things.
Indeed it did. My goodness.
It was silly. Like, just how did he place the money up there so that you open it and money
the money fell on him?
Down?
I know. It's like
but that's Phil's money. So what is she going to do? Just gather it up and give it to Phil? Going to keep it secret?
Well, no, I'm presuming, but no, because then she gets a text message from Alfie later saying,
the exact time the money fell off.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he was watching her. Maybe he's still in the attic.
Maybe there's a trigger that if the wardrobe's opened, it sends a text.
Yeah, saying keep the faith. I'll be home soon.
Oh, no.
Kiss, but on a different number. I mean, there's a bit of theory being thrown around that that's not Alfie who sent that text. Perhaps Alfie's in trouble and it's someone else who sent it.
Keep the fae.
I don't know, but
I don't want Alfie to come back. Is that it now for Alfie, or is he back again next week?
Well, no, it's 48 hours. His time is up. He'll be coming back, won't he?
He said, keep the faith, I'll be back soon.
I don't know. What's going to happen with the money and Phil? Because is Kat going to stay now, or is Kat and Alfie going to leave again with the money, stealing it from Phil?
Like, has he faked his own death to get like some insurance? But then, because there's no body and it's a mysterious death, that will take years to come through.
But then if he's doing it for insurance, why did he take the money from Phil for her to then pay it back and then get the insurance money anyway? There's no need for the whole Phil bit in the middle.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not quite sure what his plan is, but
I mean, I suppose that's the whole point, isn't it? We're meant to be left guessing. So
it's very odd. But whether she's just gonna keep this £50,000 quiet, because Phil's gonna notice if she starts walking around with like a new handbag or a new car.
But also, if all that money fell on her, she's gonna find money in places where she didn't remember they were. She's gonna have £50 notes.
Ernie might eat some of it.
I was going to say, keep Ernie away from that money. So yes, so from the ridiculous to the sublime, some might say, because I think we're going to be talking about...
Oh yes, so many good things coming up in the classic chat.
It's time for the Classic EastEnders Roundup.
Ooh.
There's a magical mystery tour of the human digestive system in Body Matters in half an hour on BBC One after this evening's episode of EastEnders.
Well, what a few weeks in 87 this has been.
Yes, but we can't think about it too much. Let's just delve straight into it. And let's talk about London in Bloom.
Oh, the original.
The original. So I didn't even know there was an original in Bloom.
Yeah. Not Wolford in Bloom, London in Bloom.
No, London in Bloom. This is the whole of London in a competition who has the best flower boxes outside their buildings.
And it's the Vic versus the Dagmar.
Yeah, because they've added a new category this year, pubs. So the Dagmar's just opened. Wilmot Brown, he's not very happy with the clientele that are coming in though.
I know, he's right snob.
He's a proper snob. We're beginning to see a new Wilmot Brown, where he was like a bit of a posh guy, but a bit of an everyman person. Yeah. He's now beginning to show that he's a bit. He feels like he's over the parapet. He does not like it, and he doesn't like that she's soliciting. Well, she believes she is soliciting in his pub because Ali has got a lot to answer for this week. He is like a dog on heat.
He fancies everyone, and he's really open about it as well.
Well, Sue's not, to coin a term, putting herself out very much anymore.
No, she's focused on test tube babies at the moment.
Yes, she wants to have a child, but she wants to do it the scientific way, not the sexy Ali way. So Ali is basically flirting with any female that moves.
Everyone.
And he says the same lines as well. So, I really fancied you. Yeah, I think you feel the same way about me. I think you're really attractive. And it doesn't get him anywhere. I mean, a few of them have been...
up for it.
Pat is, but I don't think... Well, he was keen to begin with, and then didn't seem so keen. No. He tried it with Ange, and Ange was very polite and said no. Tried it with Mary, and she slapped him in the face.
It was a real slap as well.
Oh, it was a
but they were dating in real life, so do you think they had a little chat and said, do you mind if I just do it properly?
Yeah,
it's all right.
Maybe
it's all right, Linda.
Maybe it's a bit of a sexy thing for like when they got home later.
Maybe. But yeah, he's not doing very well, is he? I mean, Sue was even jealous that he was taking Ethel in a taxi.
Yes, because Ethel broke Dot's umbrella, or lost Dot's umbrella after the two-hander, where Dot gave her permission to use the umbrella after saying that, oh, Ethel, you always lose things, and then point proven, Ethel did lose it. But that two-hander...
How amazing was that two-hander?
Fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic.
I could just watch it again.
I really could.
It was so good.
It was like watching a mini play. It was like watching a half-an-hour play. It felt like it was one shot. It wasn't. There was a lot.
It was long shots though.
But they were
really long shots, all in one go.
And great. And you learnt so much about both the characters in that short, condensed space of time. Like we now know that Dot was evacuated and she preferred living in Wales. That her mum had a new husband or new dad.
Treated her very well. She had an abortion. Charlie made her an abortion.
Which was a little girl that she was devastated about.
Gwen.
Yes, she named her Gwen.
After her aunt. Yeah, so you learnt loads and loads. You learnt about Ethel and her parents and how she's quite vain when she was younger. Yes. And quite a bit of a flirt and a hussy.
She let herself... Yeah, she was a bit like the Ali of the 1950s. She liked to go to the boys and like flirt with them. But it was just, she lost her mum and dad, but she was more worried about her makeup, and her brother slapped her, and now she regrets it, and she wished she could tell her parents that she does miss them, and she didn't mean what she... It was beautiful.
It was very well done.
Really beautiful.
Really, really good.
Yeah, so more of those, please.
And also we had the fantastic. Can't forget Lou Bill on all this.
Lou Bill.
Because we haven't got much long left of her now.
No.
We've got about 8 months worth of classic.
Oh.
I know.
I know, it hurts thinking about it.
But yeah, Jumble Sale, she wanted to get there.
The Wolfer Jumble Sale was a piece of art, honestly. So...
I mean, this is what goes to show. If this was done today, a Jumble Sale, we would all be rolling our eyes and be like, oh, for God's sake. But it's the way it was written. It was just amazing.
It was
such a simple storyline. It was like a nothing storyline, but it gave so much character to so many people.
Well, we're saying also that there's, like, the jokes that you watch on the classic episodes, they're not thrown in your face like they are today. So whenever there's a funny... Mo is an example where it's not the case, because Mo's are very subtle.
Yeah.
But nowadays, when something's meant to be funny, the writers want you to say, oh, this is really funny, watch it.
It takes centre stage, like Masood and Ian.
That's right.
Like 4 weeks worth.
Yeah, and it was like a skit in the writer's mind. But with the classic episodes, like with Lou, for example, she faked her angina attack, so she gets to go to the front of the queue. Yeah. Ian offers her a cup of tea, she's like, oh, forget about that, and then go straight to the table with material.
Yeah, and there's a scene with, like, I don't know, Calvin and Michelle, but in the background you could see Lou, and she was chucking up all the stuff. She was sizing up all the shirts and the dresses and chucking them over and taking big bundles. It was just so funny.
And the scene with Dot, when Dot was trying to convince Lou not to buy the vase, and again a really subtle little scene because she wanted it, and then she hid it under the table, and Tom bought Dot her umbrella. It was a lovely scene when he said, I found this for you, Dot. I'll put 10p in the charity box, of course. And Dot was like, of course. Like that. But she was so smitten that Tom had done this.
And it makes it okay.
Yeah.
And then Carmel comes across and goes, oh, these people, the people who work here, they think just putting 10p in will settle it. But it's not, it's still on their conscience. And it was,
And then Dot suddenly feels really bad about them doing it. But yeah, the jump, as you said, the Jumble Sale was brilliant. Really funny scene.
I mean, Lou Bill does comedy so well. And she does serious so well.
She's just a great actress, Lou, and a great character as well. She's just been written as such a wonderful character, and she will be really sorely missed when we talk about her exit, which, as you say, is not too long to go now. Let's just take 5 seconds just to talk about Pete Bill and that flipping hat.
Oh, what, the cowboy?
I'm not a cowboy. I'm a Westerner.
Not a flaming cowboy.
I'm not a flaming cowboy.
Stood there in his cowboy hat, cowboy boots, cowboy belt, his chaps.
Oh, goodness sake.
Why is he wearing this?
Because he does country western dancing.
Yeah, how many times a week? He's doing it all the time.
He must be well into it. He likes wearing the hat though, doesn't he? I think it adds to his masculinity in his mind. But when he tips it, he gets his 2 pointing fingers and he tips it.
With a note in between his fingers as well.
Oh, he's just...
half a lager?
No, don't get me started on his ordering at the bar. Well, I worked in a bar, right, for a year, and whenever someone would stand there with their note flung in front of them, basically to try to get my attention, I would ignore them. That's just rude.
Pete Bill.
The Pete Bill. That's the Pete Bill move, and it's just rude. Dare they? But yeah, Pete Bill was on form. Yet again, unintentionally winding me up.
I wish we'd see some of his Western dancing lessons. Do you think we will? I hope so.
I don't think we will.
Must be leading somewhere.
Well, Pete doesn't like to lay himself open to people, does he?
Silly, does he?
No, he doesn't like to look
silly.
Although
he always looks silly.
But unintentionally. He doesn't realise he is. But no, maybe one day, if they do another carnival around the square or something, perhaps that will be. One last thing to quickly mention. Ange wants Den back, and he's determined to get Den from Morag.
The weird relationship.
Yeah, Morag I used to like, but after
last week.
But this week I've kind of lost interest in Morag because Morag talks about Morag in the first person. Morag is this, and Morag wouldn't like that.
She's really,
Why does she do that? I hate people who do that. Morag would never tolerate any of that business. Morag won't take that from you, Den. It's like, you're right, Morag. Blimmin' heck.
It's just a weird relationship, her and Den. They don't even seem like they're together, but they are. But
yeah, but Morag doesn't want... well, this is it. Morag doesn't want...
it's like an open relationship.
She likes to have an open relationship. She doesn't like to be stuck to one guy. Which Sharon and Wixie are super overanalyzing their relationship at the moment. It's like, just have fun, you two.
Yeah, she needs to just get out of the way, doesn't she, Sharon?
But they're talking about marriage now. It's just ridiculous. She doesn't feel comfortable being, sexual with Wixie. But that's fine. Let's get married. It's really odd. And they were asking everyone around the square what their opinion was. It's like, well, come up with your own opinion. It's your relationship. So that was a bit... Neymar quite rightly said that people are trying to arrange her marriage for her, and she's trying to stop it from happening. Yeah. And now that Sharon and Wixie want their marriage arranged for them, and they're mad. So, yeah. It's been a funny old week on the Classic EastEnders.
It was good. I just love Lou Bill.
I know you do.
Just can't get enough of her.
Well, I'm sure there'll be more next week.
Yeah, but there's not much more. That's the trouble. See, I'm waiting for Morag to leave, but when Morag leaves, like Mary leaves, Lou leaves, Lofty leaves,
well, this is when
Ange leaves.
Yeah, a lot of the original cast all go at once, don't they?
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a funny period.
Sue leaves, but Morag leaves.
Well, Sue.
So there's a plus.
Yeah, but true. But Sue is notably looking a bit like she
pale.
Yeah. But anyway, that's got nothing to do with the actual soap itself. So, yes. Well, do you guys have been enjoying Classic EastEnders? Let us know what you've been enjoying by finding our Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Just look for EastEnders Weekly. And that was our Classic EastEnders Roundup.
This is Malcolm Einan wishing you a very good night on behalf of everybody here at the Television Centre.
Right, we're back. Present day.
I don't like it.
Nor do I. It's not 70p for a Coke.
No, it feels too clean.
So we've got this storyline of Mitch and Karen and Bailey. The revelation has come out that Bailey is his daughter, even though last week you said it was his daughter. So you knew already somehow.
I'm sure he mentioned it already. I'm sure he said it to someone, but I don't know.
It's a bit of a weird revelation because it's kind of like that's what you thought would have been.
Well, on Monday.
Like, who did Karen think she was? Just some random girl living with him.
Exactly. It's like, why did Mitch have this child? Did he just steal from the streets and just decide to let her help him do stuff while she played football? I don't know.
Good actress, though, Bailey, the girl.
I like Bailey. Yeah, she's fun.
She likes magic.
Bailey loves magic. It's a bit of an opener for Bailey, magic, isn't it? So she's someone new, someone she's not used to. She likes to show him a magic trick. She has
it was
two.
Sweet when she met Keegan.
It was. Well, okay, so we're fast-forwarding a little bit, but Keegan had...
I'm just talking about her acting abilities, that's all.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was sweet when she met Keegan and they were both shy because they knew their brother and sister, and so she said, they said, oh, hi, I'm blah, blah, and then they just looked at each other, so she thought, oh, I know magic trick. It's sweet. But
that's what I mean. It's her way in, isn't it, of getting people to like her and be confident with her. I'm presuming that she's a bit nervous when she's at school or something like that. I mean, if she goes to school for that matter. It's another. She hasn't seen
school, she?
No.
She does football. We know she likes football.
Yeah.
She likes magic. She doesn't like dogs.
Doesn't like dogs. But lucky for us, Karen has a dog that's just right for desensitizing you to that fact. Because Karen was asked to look after Bailey quite a lot this week too. And when Bronson first walks into the room, I mean, he's an ugly mug, but he's not a horrible
he's so
dog.
Sweet. He was like my favourite this week when he was on the sofa.
This is Bronson too as well. He got recast.
Yeah, I like the new one. I like the new Bronson.
Yeah, he's really dumb looking, isn't he?
He's so sweet. But yeah, he's harmless, and Karen eventually persuades Bailey to go to Bronson because he's a nice dog.
I mean, when we were watching that scene, I said to you, I'm just waiting for Bronson to suddenly go and suddenly bark at her or something like that, and it would completely unravel all the good work that Karen had done. But this is when we find out where Bailey is actually Mitch's daughter.
Because Mitch keeps telling her to keep it secret, but then he's the one that ends up shouting it.
Yeah,
at her, which was a bit.
And it upsets. This is the thing. It upsets Karen because it upsets Keegan. But the reason for this was because Keegan has only just started to trust you again. So what? I don't know how that's broken any trust by him having another daughter.
I think it's slightly Keegan never really had Mitch before, and he's lots of times he's attempted to be a dad for him, but never really given that much interest. And I guess he must feel, he's given this daughter all this attention, stayed with her, brought her up, done all these things. Why didn't he do that to me? I guess.
Oh, I see. Because he abandoned Keegan, but he's not abandoned.
And you also have to remember Keegan is on not very good mental state at the moment. He's on drugs, so
well, that's true.
He's probably got heightened emotions and things.
I mean, Mitch catches him, doesn't he? Because at first he thinks that Evie is his girlfriend because he sees from afar, and Evie says, "Yeah."
What's her thing with kissing?
I don't know. It's a power thing, I guess.
Yeah, but it's a bit weird.
Well, in the oldie days, when there was a king used to make a peasant or someone kiss their ring. So I'm presuming this is Evie's kiss my ring metaphor too. So she feels like there's some kind of power.
Really odd. Yeah, but to everyone she deals drugs to, does she do this or just the new one?
Maybe. I mean, she gets Keegan to kiss her. I mean, with Tiff, she gets her, she reciprocates the kiss, doesn't she? So maybe she's showing that there's equal power. But then she got Tiff to kiss her on her own last week when she started to show power over Tiff. I don't know. I think it's a power trip thing.
Also, it's odd that Evie was the one doing the dodgy dealing. So I thought she'd be above that.
No, so she took the money, and then the second time she took the money, then directed Keegan helpfully to a gentleman 2 feet in the left side.
To a sloth.
To a sloth.
Or
and
a
then,
bunhead.
Yeah, and then he then got the drugs from... Because then that's when Mitch caught him buying drugs. He's like, I don't believe it. I can't believe you're doing this.
He clocked Evie straight away. He knew what she was about, didn't he? Mitch ain't stupid. He's streetwise.
I mean, they're going to find... anyone who goes to the laundrette is going to find soap powder on the floor. Perhaps isn't the soap powder that you think it is.
I know. Let's hope Karen's good at her cleaning.
Well, I hope someone's going to use it and put it in their washing, because sniffer dogs are going to go straight onto them.
I mean, Keegan was quite high in front of Louise and Keanu, which is sort of another story.
And Keanu didn't seem to care.
Louise is very worried.
Louise knew he was high, but again didn't care because Keanu had turned up.
Yeah.
But Keanu, who's been making such a big deal about, I'm keeping my eye on you, and it knows that Keegan has started to delve into drugs.
He come down really quickly though, like when he was in the Vic. He was like normal again.
Especially considering he spent, was it £70 worth of cocaine? He was like high for like 10 minutes. What a waste of money. That's ever an endorsement not to take drugs. That's it. Spend £70, you're high for 10 minutes, done.
But he had a little chat with Mitch and got introduced to his sister he never knew about and stuff. So yeah, that was quite sweet.
It was lovely to see it. And Karen was happy that Keegan kind of accepted it. So I mean, again, this shows Mitch coming back into the family again after running away with all that money that Patrick had posted.
They mentioned Ted. It, but not ever since.
Well, no, yeah, because also, I suppose Ted's not been here to find out that. I know where Ted was. He was at the NTAs, wasn't he?
He was on Instagram stories.
He was. Hello, But this is the telling thing. He said, "I played Ted Murray in EastEnders."
I play.
And and people have been super analysing that.
I want Ted to be. I forgot to talk about it on the Slater bit, so I'm going to talk about it now. That Big Mo is having a storyline where she's going to be hooked up with an odd couple sort of flat share thing.
Right.
Is it going to be Ted, the odd couple? He's the only one that's... Who else has got a flat?
But Dot's got the house, but that doesn't really count.
House.
Patrick lives with
Ruby.
Denise. It could be Ruby.
Mel. Hunter's gone.
I'd love
Mel and Big Mo.
Hunter's not gone yet.
No, but like when the storyline starts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to work out who her odd couple could be. Must be Ted.
Jack?
Oh, no.
Big Mo. Who could she move in with?
Big Mo and Mel, Big Mo and Ted.
I'd imagine
Mo and Ruby.
I imagine it'd be someone of a similar age.
Yeah, it must be Ted then.
It's going to be Ted, isn't
Maybe
it?
he hasn't left. There you go, that links it back to Ted.
Well done.
Yeah, maybe Ted and Big Mo are going to have the odd couple.
Perhaps.
Though they're not that dissimilar. Patrick?
Oh, well, no, they are very... He couldn't... I don't think he'd cope with Big Mo. He could barely cope with Joyce. And Joyce was like the most...
Never there.
Yeah, never there, and basically let him get away with murder. Are you playing chess today? No, I promise I'm not. 1 minute later, playing chess.
Kush. Big Mo and Kush.
Kush likes the elder lady.
Yeah.
He likes the elder ladies.
I was trying to think of who's in a flat, you see.
It can't...
Jay and Billy. House share.
Well, no, because they're quite family. Exactly. They've got the kids there as well.
They'll have Lola soon, won't
and
they?
the dentist who likes to visit every now and then. Drop in. Yeah. I reckon your bet is right. I think it's going to be Ted and Big Mo.
Ooh.
That'd be
so
fun.
romantic.
Oh, well, Ian. Keep forgetting about Ian.
It's not a flat, it's a house.
Yeah, but he's on his own.
Kathy. Kathy and Big Mo.
Kathy and Big Mo. They're similar age.
They are. Anyway,
we've gone right off topic here.
So we're just going to go off now and play a quick game.
That time again for us to delve into Martin's fruit and veg store and look for his 5 a day.
Yummy.
It's January, you have nice clean living, so it's always good to look for your good 5 a day. So this one's a bit different this week, because I like to play with my games a little bit. I like to mix things up a bit. The same way Martin likes to...
Mixed veg or salad.
Oh, you stole the joke from me. Just so the listeners at home know, basically what I do is I ask Ben a question, and then he must list 5 answers that are linked to the question. And Ben has to achieve this goal within 30 seconds. Ben knows the rules, don't you, Ben?
Yes, unless they change.
No? Well, only the questions change. And this time it's a very special question. So this week, I decided to ask Searchwise.net, the Wolford's premium search engine, and just get a few questions answered for me. And it was staggering to find some of the autocomplete answers that had been supplied by the search engine. So I wonder if Ben could name 5 autocomplete answers from the list in less than 30 seconds.
This sounds like a game show from Challenge TV.
No, it's perfect. So I'm going to give you the term that I searched on searchwise.net, and you have to see if you can name at least 5.
Is Safe Search on?
Safe Search is off.
Oh.
But it's fine because there's nothing bad, nothing naughty on here.
Okay.
But you can guess.
No fan fiction.
No, not again, no. So are you ready? Are you ready to play?
Yes.
So in 30 seconds, can you list up to 5 autocomplete answers when I searched Ian Bill? And go.
Ian Bill wedding.
No.
Oh. Ian Bill EastEnders.
No.
Ian Bill Real Deal.
No. Another great game. Think about stories that's happened to him.
Ian Bill business.
No.
Ian Bill Lucy death.
No, but think along those lines.
Ian Bill Lucy.
No.
Ian Bill Bobby.
I'll give you that. Ian Bill's son is one of them. You've got 5 seconds.
Ian Bill classic.
No.
Original funeral.
Time is up. Time is up. You weren't. I don't think you were thinking of things that have happened to Ian Bill.
Ian Bill's a very short sentence to try and add on the end of.
Well, let me give you what searchwise.net supplied.
Right.
So I searchwised Ian Bill, and it came up homeless, meme, crying, tramp. This one's confused me. His net worth. Ian Bill's net worth. I mean,
he's a businessman.
Yeah, but a fictional character, would he have a net worth?
Yeah. The papers run a story where they evaluated Dot's house. So.
Gin.
Gin. Oh.
Because
Adam Woodyatt.
Yeah. And wife or wives. So if you thought about
Did I not say wives? Did I say marriage?
Well, I think you skipped through loads near the end. You had a funeral and all kinds of stuff.
That's a stupid game.
It's a great game. You just weren't thinking along the lines.
I don't want to play that one again.
It's not up to you. I'll post a picture of the search from searchwise.net on our Twitter and our other social networks. And if you ever want to find us, all you have to do is search EastEnders Weekly on Facebook groups, Twitter, and Instagram. And that was yet another successful round of Martin Fowler's 5 a Day.
Well, we won't be doing that again. So, there you have it.
It was a bit of a disaster. In retrospect, yeah.
Anyway, so we have got Phil Mitchell, who is setting up all the dates.
He's Cupid, isn't he?
Put him in a nappy. He could work his own marriage.
He's let Sharon have a bit of time away.
He's not bought her a big chocolate bar in a while, though.
No, she's going to have to buy him something in duty free.
I wonder what she gets him.
It won't be booze, obviously, but it'd be something really disgusting, like a thong or something, like a Aussie bum pair of pants or something like that. And she'd be like, "I've got these from Australia for you," because every time Sharon or Phil come back from a holiday, they have sex.
They do.
And he slaps her on the bum. She makes
a giggles and runs upstairs.
And runs upstairs. Luckily this time, or hopefully this time, Keanu won't be sat under the bed with a solitary tear coming out of his eye.
It's going to be the other way round this time. Because Sharon is most likely going to walk in on Keanu and Louise. Whereas last time, Phil walked in on, Keegan and Louise and Keanu and Sharon upstairs.
God, it's becoming so complicated, isn't it? This love. It is. Hexagonal thing.
Pentagon. It?
Love Pentagon, yeah.
He is setting up dates because he's embarrassed Louise.
Yeah, Louise says she can't get a man because all the boys,
dad.
Exactly, all the boys on the square knows that you're my dad. So, simple solution here, Louise, go somewhere else to find dates.
Go to Lisa.
Yeah, exactly. Stay with Lisa for a bit.
So he sort of feels, poor Phil, he feels bad.
He does feel bad, to be fair. I must say, this week I really grew to like Phil again.
Really, learn to love him like Sharon does.
Yeah, but even when he was doing the dodgy stuff with Alfie this week, it felt like, I don't know, it felt like Phil was back again. Like all the silly stories and all him being angry about the littlest thing kind of subsided, and it was nice to see Phil showing a bit of a spectrum of feeling. So yeah, he buys pizzas, invites Keanu round for dinner.
Well, that's still embarrassing to Louise.
Well, yes, so Louise storms upstairs in her high jeggings and storms off in a bad mood. And Keanu's like, "What have I done?" And Phil's like, "What have I done?" And they don't really know what's going on. And so Keanu leaves and Phil's left on his own in the kitchen eating 3 pizzas.
Keanu says he can't date her because of my brother. So then Phil then chats to Keegan. That's where Keegan gets the money for the drugs.
Conveniently, this is just the right time where Keegan's
desperate
for money to buy the drugs.
So he gives his blessing for his brother and his ex-girlfriend to get it together just so he can get some cash.
Just for £70. He gave up his love for Louise for £70. £70.
He's loved her since the bus crash.
Yeah, well, before then, because he was taking photos of her on his phone, and he was obsessed with her, and he was jealous.
He was a bully to her because he loved her.
Yeah, he bullied. Yeah, because he loved her so much. But
right, £70.
£70. I'll forget her. That's fine. Don't you worry about it. See ya.
Yeah. So Keanu and Louise have got like the blessing, and she comes round to the house, and Bernadette says something to Keanu, which she basically says, "Well, why don't you go for Louise? Because no one else around here is waiting for you." Just as he's listened to the voicemail from Sharon.
Yeah, because he's obsessed with that voicemail. He's still got the same voicemail. Where Sharon said, like,
imagine if he was listening to the tape that Louise recorded of them in the thing instead.
Well, when she was having her personal training session.
he was like listening to that instead. Oh.
Well, Sharon's got the recording. She could have sent it to him as a tease. I'll be home in 2 days. Oh, stop it, Keanu! You're making me work so hard.
But no, he decides. I mean, that was quite a nice chat that Bernadette and Louise had as well.
It was nice actually that they were bonding because obviously the Tiff story's going its own way now, and you can only for so long have Bernie looking scornfully at what Tiff is up to. So it makes sense for Bernie to kind of separate herself for that for a little while.
It's quite a nice friendship because before we'd said, well, why doesn't Bex and Bernie be friends? Because they're quite similar. But you didn't really think about Louise and Bernie, but it worked quite well.
I thought it worked really well. Because obviously Louise was borrowing her unicorn onesie. You were questioning whether Louise would fit so well in Bernadette's unicorn onesie.
I was wondering if it was one that Bernadette had bought for Tiff and now Louise is wearing it.
Oh, perhaps. Yeah. I liked it.
Also, I like to mention that confirming Bernadette's LGBTQ world, she loves Sharon.
Yes.
So that basically confirms that Bernadette's now gay.
Well,
that's her confirmation that she stands for Sharon Mitchell.
I know. She says something really amazing. She says she's the only woman round here who doesn't get mugged off by men. It's brilliant. I loved it. So yeah, good old Bernie.
Yeah.
If you're going to love Sharon, you're going to love the rainbow. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, bring it on.
So I liked that. And Keanu sort of realises, oh, maybe I will settle for Louise then.
Settle. I love that you use the term settle because that's exactly what's happened, isn't it?
Yeah, they're not exactly buzzing with chemistry, are they, those two?
No.
He barely touches her. Sharon, her legs all round him, up on the table, up in the sink.
Kitchen table, sink, yeah.
On the sofa,
plunging her,
on the stairs. So,
handcuffs, furry handcuffs.
It's very much, this is just plot for the affair.
It's fodder, isn't it? It's fodder to, as we say, to get the love pentagon started. And
do you want another Kate Oates spoiler?
Oh, go on then, spoil me.
So, obviously Phil Mitchell is on pantomime and Keanu's on Beauty and the Beast pantomime in real life. So they're both off screen. We're wondering how that's going to work. Well, what's happening is, those dodgy holidays that Phil goes to Spain for weeks at a time and does these things that we don't know about?
Portugal.
He's getting Keanu involved in these dodgy deals and takes Keanu to Spain.
Portugal,
wherever.
It's always Portugal. Everyone in EastEnders goes to Portugal.
These ones are Spain though, aren't they? The dodgy ones. Or whatever. So they're actually going to Kate Oates is actually going to make a reason for these holidays. There's something dodgy that he's getting Keanu involved in, and that's how they start to bond as become like a family.
But then that would upset Sharon because Sharon liked that Keanu was pure.
Yeah.
And when Keanu started showing kind of like a Phil side, she didn't like that very much. And she insisted that he has to go back to being the nice, innocent Keanu.
That's good, isn't it? We actually, it's not just Phil's gone for 6 weeks, we don't know why. He's actually been doing something dodgy.
It's great.
So that's interesting.
I agree with you. It's great that they've done that. They've written it out. But it would be even better if they actually then filmed episodes in Portugal.
And Sharon turns up because why not?
Yeah, she'd
and
still
Sam
wear.
Mitchell.
Sharon would wear all black still, with a sun hat and her high heels.
Big glass sunglasses.
Like the size of her actual head, sunglasses. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Oh yeah, we need that. That'd be good. Right, so do you want to move on to the final storyline?
I know, yes, the final one. So Mick, and this was a very short one. It was just touched on Monday.
It was really weird and creepy.
It really was. He's got himself
this woman follows him.
Yeah, his own personal stalker, who's the mum of one of the boys who's on the football team.
What does she even want? I can't even remember.
She wants him to start the football team back up.
Well, that's why she's following.
Yeah, she's convincing him that he's good enough to do it.
She was stood in the Vic kitchen, just stood there, and no one said anything.
Well, no, Linda did. Linda didn't mind that this woman was doing this, and she just said, "Oh, this reminds me of our Nancy." I was like, "How does that remind you?" Yeah, exactly.
I love Nancy. She's a great character.
Disgrace her name.
Megan.
I know, Megan. So yeah, Megan
Although
is...
there's a bit of confusion because Megan's son is called Cameron. Now, do we remember Rat from a few weeks ago?
I do from a few weeks ago, yes.
His real name's Cameron.
Oh.
Is it the same one? It can't be, can it?
I hope they're not going to do a Cameron clash like they did with the Billies when they brought back Carol's son.
Yeah, it is Megan's son Rat.
No, because we've seen Cameron, Megan's son, in the football team, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm sure we have, because...
Why can't they think of a different name then? Why have they used the same name twice?
I think that's
in the same week.
Obviously, the writers did separate projects. The trainees did the Mick being stalked storyline and just thought, well, Cameron's a nice name, and they insisted they kept it. I mean, it doesn't matter because you know.
No, I know. I don't like Megan. I'm assuming she's not going to be a character.
Oh, she will. A lot of people are getting really upset because they think that Megan is the start of an affair story.
No, Megan will be just disappeared in like a week. You'll never see her again.
Well, no, they can't because the football storyline.
No.
This is the Mick's big story.
No,
he's had the shooting. He's gone to prison. Now he's coaching a football team.
No, the football storyline will just disappear by February. I wouldn't worry about that. This is literally just a filler for like 3 weeks.
I agree with you.
It won't lead to nothing, and Megan will not be anything.
She's
not even got a cast photo.
Oh, yeah, okay, so she's going to be forgotten. She's going to be a page in the past that no one will ever remember again. She'll be a question on a pub quiz. Who stalked Mick for 1 week on EastEnders in 2019?
It's like that weird storyline they had when Zaza's friend gave birth in the Vic and then disappeared. It's like that.
Oh, okay.
Remember that?
No.
Do you not remember that weird woman appeared who was like friends with Zaza, so Tina brought her in and then she gave birth and then she left?
Oh, yes. Yes,
really
I
weird
do.
and, like,
I do. Yeah. Because she came to take Zaza away, and she was a bit like, I knew she shouldn't come and seen her mum again.
It was weird. Well, Zaza's not been in it for ages.
But she's mentioned, but not been in.
So yeah, it's Megan's basically that, just fodder. I hope, because she's really weird and annoying, and she's nothing like Nancy.
Well, no, she's nothing like Nancy, and it's just surprising after all the hassle that Linda and Mick have been through that Linda just doesn't seem to care that this woman is in her kitchen without her prior knowledge, and then sharing a sandwich, giving him money. It's just really odd.
Yeah, silly Megan. Right, so on to our last section, which is, are we still calling it a new section? 3 weeks?
No, it's a continuing section, and it's time for us to see who won the week.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
Yes, it's that time at the end of the show when we find out who has won the week. And
Bronson
was amazing. Unfortunately, no one voted for him.
I should have.
Didn't even mention it. You should have put it as a nominated.
Okay. He's got time.
Well, if he's ever in it again, he's having a break now. He's doing pantomime. Each week we ask you who you believe has won the week, but we're going to have a look retrospectively and see in previous years who had won the week. So Ben, what's happened in the past?
Well, now that I have my all access pass to all EastEnders, I've looked back at some storylines which happened this time last year. Ooh. So we're going to go back to the 23rd of January 1992.
Good year.
And we're missing her. So Kathy has a story. It's the Wilmot Brown. He spent his 2 years, he already got his 2 years in prison for her. And he's released and he sent messages to her saying, I want to meet up and explain because I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, so he even then didn't think he did anything wrong.
And this is very upsetting, Kathy. Pete Bill.
Oh, I can imagine.
He's got grey hair now.
he stopped dyeing.
He's very angry.
He stopped using that Just for Men. It was coming out on his pillow, in his hat. He didn't like it with the black rim.
He was very angry and upset by this. And at the same time, he'd parked his van in the way on the market. And the market stall man said, would you mind just moving your van? You're in the way. No, I'm in the way. If you want to bring it up with someone, bring it up with me. Because he thinks he's the market inspector. And then someone wanted a carrot and he said, yeah, you can have a carrot. But yeah, Kathy's very upset.
He's so bipolar, Pete, isn't he? He's just insane.
So yeah, she's wondering whether she should meet with Wilmot Brown, but she doesn't want to. So 25th January 2005.
Oh.
The police think they have found Paul Truman's body.
Oh, I loved the story of Paul Truman when he left. That was great. I enjoyed that a lot.
And Patrick has to go and
identify him.
Identify the body and if it is him. And the policeman there is Mitch Baker.
Oh, yes, you showed me the clip. Yeah.
Very young.
Yeah. It's not actually Mitch.
No, but it's the actor.
The actor who played Mitch, yeah. So
what are the chances? So January is obviously always free. So 25th January 2016, we have Jane. She wants Bobby to go to private school early.
Uh-oh.
Because we all know what's happened with Bobby, don't we?
We do.
They all know that he's killed. And he needs to go to private school.
Is this when everyone knows, or is this just before?
No, Jane and Ian know. So they want to send him to private school to rehabilitate him and get him out of the way.
Oh yeah, that was really odd, wasn't it? They thought the private school would basically put him on the straight and narrow. Yeah.
And Ian's trying to find all the money and funds for it. So
is this before? It must be before he takes up hockey and gets a penchant of whacking things with it.
It is. So there you go. That's a few things that were happening in the past this time last year. So very exciting.
So that's who won the week in those years. But in this year of 2019, who won the week? We offered you the options of Louise, Phil, Stuart and Mitch. You can vote on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. And we collect all the votes together and then do a final result. So, Ben, who do you believe this week
Bronson
had won the week? It wasn't Bronson.
Dave the Cat.
It wasn't Dave the Cat. Although Dave the Cat.
What are the options?
Dave the Cat was seen outside Elm Street, wasn't he?
I know. I love that photo. I might put it on Instagram. It's from EastEnders Cards. Everyone.
Do you think the cat is a bit like the Downing Street cat, and he just turns up
when he wants?
He just does the part and then leaves. And the whole story of Dot falling over wasn't meant to happen.
I wonder if Dave's a relative to Debbie and Andy's cats.
I'd like that. Starsky and Hutch.
Might be the great-grandparent.
The great-great-great-grandson of Starsky and Hutch.
Right, who are the nominations for who won the week?
I've already said it's Louise, Phil, Stuart or Mitch. So who do you think has won the week? We're going to go straight to who's won. You're absolutely right. Louise won the week this week. So you believe that Louise was the best. She got 31% of the votes. Interestingly, on Twitter, she only got the second most votes. But on Facebook and Instagram, she got loads more votes than everyone else. So it brought her total right up. So there you go. If you want to, you can vote more than once. Don't forget, guys, if you want to get stuck in. So Louise got 31% and won the week. Second was Stuart on 28%.
Yeah, that's good.
Phil was third with 23%. And Mitch was last with 18%. So it was very tight as well, to be fair.
Good ones, though. All good weeks.
All good weeks. As I say, don't forget you can vote on our Twitter, which is at EastEnders Week. You can find the vote on Instagram at EastEnders Weekly Podcast, or you can vote on our private Facebook group, where there's also discussions of news and people's point of view of what they think of the show. And that's just by searching on Facebook EastEnders Weekly Podcast, and you can find our group there. And people are also very active with things to say, aren't they, as well, on the social media this week?
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, we are running on time. So what have we got? We have got EastEnders fan wants to ask us, is it hard to choose speaking points of the show when it's so bad?
No. Well, we've had classic EastEnders to prop us up, but with the rough for the smooth, you've always got to take the rough for the smooth.
We've got to be here. Keegan Baker says,
not Pete Keegan. He's probably high when he wrote this.
Does anyone else think that Ted Murray will ever be seen in EastEnders again? Because I don't think he will. We've just discussed this. We have past tense.
Yes.
But there's also the possibility of him sharing a flat with Mo.
With Mo, who likes to stink the place out.
And we have another comment who says, I feel I should just copy and paste the same thing. I'm bored of Alfie and his ringtone. Why do they portray everyone as so gullible around Alfie? Even Stuart is more trustworthy than him.
Alfie's ringtone has been a bone of contention with you as well, hasn't it? You're not a huge fan of that.
Had it for years. And it's just ridiculous now.
Had it for years. Look at you.
So there you go.
And this is just a comment that someone had posted on our Facebook group. Danny Robertson said, saw last night's episode. Shirley's death stare at Mitch when he asked her to look after Bailey was a thing of beauty. I mean, Shirley has been absolutely amazing. She's got so grumpy, hasn't she?
I know.
But I think Mitch and Shirley might be a nice little relationship. I think it's about time Shirley had a relationship.
Do you want one last minute Kate Oates spoiler? I've got another one.
Oh, go on then.
They're going to hook up that Billy fancies Shirley. And Kate Oates has said on record that Shirley is one of her favourite soap characters ever.
Oh, Shirley's great. When you
expect big things.
Yeah, when you give Shirley something to get her teeth into, fantastic.
So you get, that's my last one of the
week. Why Billy? Why Billy?
Someone's got to have Billy.
Yeah, true. At least it's not Honey, I suppose. So, as I say, you can contact us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Just look for EastEnders Weekly in the search. But you can also email us, eastendersweekly@gmail.com. We love getting your emails. We always respond to them. And it's great to hear any ideas you might have. And also if you've been enjoying getting stuck in with the show. That's right. And before we go, I've just got one more scoop for you. Go on. Sharon Mitchell. She's back this week.